6 weeks since you completed the incredible challenge of rowing the Atlantic. I mean, it's probably been a mad time since, but how do you look back on the challenge?
Yeah, oh gosh, Scott, it's taken us 6 weeks to get to this point of coming in to speak to you. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a couple of thank yous first, and then we'll build on what we were going to talk about. I'd first thank everybody that's got behind us and supported us with sponsorship, whether it's company sponsorship or individual sponsorship, or indeed anybody else that would like to keep sponsoring us. The link's still open for that, so that's great. And I've got to say a massive thank you, I suppose, to my crew, Dom, James and Ryan, for being there for me, and B, for getting me across the Atlantic Ocean, because it was certainly a journey and a half.
Daunting challenge. How did you prepare for it in the first place?
Yeah, well, we did a bit of, just before I left the Canaries, we did some work with BBC Radio Devon, and that question was asked, and at the time I had a couple of house bricks by the front door, and when I was getting interviewed, he said, "Mick, what's the house bricks for?" And I said, well, they actually to replicate me being on the water with the oars, because they're about the size of an oar. And do you carry them everywhere? And I said, well, I have been carrying them everywhere for about 2 months. But circuit training and carrying these bricks around has been order of the day.
I think you were delayed a little bit from the start as well, weren't you? So how did that affect your preparations and everything? Yeah,
that was massive. We ended up having to get out there or certainly James did, from the football club on the 1st of December, which was a week earlier than what we planned. I left on the 2nd of December and the lads joined us a week later, but we didn't actually get away till 3 days before Christmas Day because of storms that were gathering around the Canary Islands. So we ended up being 3.5 weeks on the Canaries, just waiting for push off, really, which was tough because we just wanted to get on with it. We were ready and we were stalled, only to be stalled even greater at sea.
And what was it like, I guess, aside from that, being away from friends, families, relatives at Christmas time as well?
Yeah, I mean, that was tough for us, but you know, we did manage to get some messages back via the club to families and friends, and again, Radio Devon were good for us, and I did a live link just before we left, and then a couple of times 2 or 3 times on the water as well, which was quite something, really.
And the challenge itself, how did the first couple of weeks go? Was it something? How did you adjust to what it was like? I mean, you can prepare for these kind of things, but they're never going to be like what you expect.
No, we did really well at the start. We were on for the world record. If you remember, we were going to go for the world record. We were actually on for the world record after about 2 weeks. And you'd think we had an auto tiller on because we were rowing the boat that straight. People thought we'd actually got an auto tiller on, and we hadn't. We were just rowing really well. But then, unfortunately, the weather gods decided we were going too well, and changed and started to push us backwards. So we were rowing flat out, and where we were being covering possibly 60 nautical miles, we were lucky to get 5 nautical miles in a 24-hour period. So we were hoping this would stop, but 14 days later we were still battling this onslaught of weather, which was tough. But in true style of how we were, we just cracked on with it, and we did come out of it in the end.
And how did you find that physically and mentally as well? I mean, you know, that extra pressure on your body is going to have a toll on your mind as well.
Yeah. Tough, physically and mentally for all of us, and we were all different, obviously. For me personally, like I said, there was a big thank you to them lads, and there was a reason for that. Where I'm normally one of the strongest, and I was captain, obviously, I was probably the weakest on the oars. Age maybe has a bit to do with that. You know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and 57 years, nearly 58, is going some. Trying to be that 25-year-old again is difficult, but I was there and I managed to keep going. But mentally it was even harder, because I had that nagging doubt that I wasn't the strongest, and you know, the sea was telling me I wasn't the strongest, but I was telling the sea I was not the strongest, but I was still able to keep rowing. So we all dealt with it differently, and like I say, we stuck together and we managed to get through it.
I believe you had some really, really tough times on sea as well. I mean, there wasn't the one part where you didn't even know if you were going to have enough food, and all these challenges you came across.
Yeah, so we went from being a world record attempt to having 1,000 miles left to run to Port St Charles in Barbados, and probably had enough food for 10 days, and we had 15 days left to go. So we were 5 days on limited food, limited water, because our water maker machine wasn't performing at its best. So it then became a survival of the fittest situation, and 5 days without food, and we managed to rock up at Port St Charles towards the end of February, not the beginning.
And you're in a very, very small space with 4 or 5 other people. I mean, how do you cope with that as well? I mean, you must be the closest people at the moment, in terms of relationships and stuff, having spent so much time together.
Yeah. Well, certainly for that period of time, but since we've been back, we obviously we haven't really spoke to each other much like that, but obviously messages and things like that, but I think we've all just needed a bit of time to A, get back to some sort of normality, and B, just recharge and sort of get refocused and carry on. The lads, Ryan certainly back onto firefighting duties. Bevs is back at the football club at the academy with the younger lads and getting them going again. And Dom's doing really well with the ladies' chief side, who were in the semi-final on Saturday. So, and me, I'm just back at the academy coaching, and a little bit sore than I was pre-December.
And you hit that finish line in February, I think you said. What was it like? I mean, it must have just been relief. You must have been ecstatic about just all those emotions.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. We ended up getting to Barbados. It was late-ish, so it was about 9:15 at night. So it meant that we couldn't clear customs. So we had to sleep on the jetty. They allowed us to come off the boat, but sleep on the jetty, and allowed our supporters to actually come on the jetty to welcome us on, but then had to go off the jetty at 11 o'clock. And we were surrounded with all these super yachts and our little old Stano rowing boat alongside, and these four lads, and you'll see with the beards that we sporting that look like Tom Hanks from that film on the jetty.
And you come back with one heck of a tan. I mean, you guys all look like you're probably in the shape of your lives as well, so it must have been good in that sense.
Yeah, so the tans are all over tans as well, because we ended up rowing naked for a lot of the time because of friction on the seats and everything, and we had some really quite bad sores to the point that they were hospitalised type sores. They were that deep, and so being naked in the sun was the order of the day, really.
And you mentioned just now, but the boat Stano, the boat christened after Adam Stansfield.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, we were fortunate that the Adam Stansfield Foundation kindly sponsored our boat, and obviously we named him Stano after Adam, which was great, and a great tribute for us to do and to take part in. Bearing in mind we were raising the awareness of bowel cancer, and still are, which is really important. While I'm talking to everybody now, there's going to be a charity game at Huge Park at Yeovil for the Adam Stansfield Foundation. So any of our supporters that want to rock up to Yeovil to support will be greatly appreciated. And it's also Bowel Cancer Awareness Month. So I said about this back in my training early on in the row. If you feel not well, or you've got a change in your bowel movements, or you're just generally not feeling good, get to the doctors and get checked, because it's proven that early diagnosis is giving you the best chance of survival. So to nothing else, that legend of Stano lives on and will live on forever in the Cockleshell Endeavour 2021 efforts across the Atlantic.
And also there's some good links in that match, isn't there, as well? Matt Taylor, Kevin Nicholson, Craig Woodman, Ryan Harley, Rob Edwards, all these people are getting involved to help spread the
which
word.
Is some of his teammates as well, and Adam's was a great lad. I coached Jay for a number of years at the academy, who's gone on to great things and still doing well at Fulham, and I wish him all the best at Fulham, and the Stansfield Foundation and trustees for A, their support, and B, trusting us that we will keep on delivering the message of bowel cancer and bowel cancer awareness, something I'm really, really passionate about.
Absolutely. The more people talk about it as well, the more, you know, understanding and knowledge there is.
Yeah, we don't have to, you know, we don't have to worry about. We all do it. We all, you know, dare I say it, and it's going on, you know, out live. We all poo, you know, and yes, occasionally you might need to have a look at that, because you might get blood in there, and if it's blood, that's one of the signs. Then you really do need to get checked out. So, you know, let's just dispel the myth that, you know, it's a dirty subject. It's not a dirty subject. It's life. We all do it.
Absolutely. And going back to your challenge as well, you know, if you put you on the spot here now, 6 months later, what's the one thing you think that you've learnt from that challenge?
Oh God, it's a difficult question, Scott.
What stands out to you the most if you look back on it?
Togetherness. Togetherness of a group of lads with all different abilities and backgrounds that had a task to do and just stuck to it to achieve it through some pretty tough times, really, and against all the, you know, everything against us at times with the sea and the sea conditions and the water maker and different things that happened at sea that I can't talk about now because it's a subject in itself. But the togetherness, which then enables us to talk about the physical and mental well-being, which is why I wanted to do it in the first place. And
the challenge is done, but the journey doesn't stop there. The key thing now is how you build upon that and raise mental health awareness and breaking the stigma and getting, you know, young people, all men to talk and everyone to talk about their mental health.
Well, that's the thing, Scott, is we at the academy, I wanted to do something for our young players. I'm on my journey myself, so that means I've got I understand what I'm talking about, and I just wanted to be able to teach our young people about some of the emotions and about being able to talk about things that might bother some of them individually, but others it might not affect them. But actually, if it's over a number of times or they're exposed to it for a length of time, it can be a problem and they can become damaged with their health. So we've got together with a company called Go Again, who are going to help us and support us deliver the sessions to give us a better understanding of our emotions and our conditions and the fact that we can talk and not to be frightened to talk to people, and it's not a weakness, actually it's a strength to admit to somebody that you're struggling. Like I said that earlier on, that, you know, I'd gone from being one of the strongest lads to being, in my eyes, one of the weakest on the oars, but I brought a whole lot of different other things to the crew, as we all did, and I want to make sure that passes on to our young people. If you link it to football, it could be left out the side, it could be an injury, it could be a problem at home, it could be a problem at school. So we are really passionate that we make it happen. Not just the young footballers, family, friends, supporters, staff, all of us in general.
Definitely. I think the key thing is to not be afraid to speak to someone or open up. I know it could be daunting in itself, but I think they say, like, you know, going through that door is the start, isn't it, of getting help.
Definitely. One of the charities that we were raising money for, Veterans Unite Against Suicide, which we're losing far too many servicemen with suicide. And Jeff Williams, a former Royal Marine like myself, put something out there in the media last week about reaching out to 3 people, putting 3 people on your phone. 3 people that you trust, 3 people that you know you can ring that'll have a listen, or a listen can help you, can provide you support. If we all did that, have that 3 people you really can then you're not alone. Because when you are struggling with your mental health, you feel alone. When the sky's blue, your head's saying it's a storm. Now, to break out of that storm is really difficult. And if you haven't got them 2 people in your phone, or you've got them, but then you haven't got the courage to speak up, and we've given you the tools to speak up, then it might just get you to change the storm into blue sky, which is, I'm trying to put it into, so people can understand where I'm coming with that. So 3 people. So again, with the lads, you know, it could be football shirts numbered 1 to 3. Put three people on, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your granddad, whoever. But have 3 people that you can turn to that might be able to help.
And I think the last 2 years, how difficult it's been. I think it's just shown the importance to people of those close to them and checking in on them and making sure they're okay. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how young you are, it's just making sure you look out for the signs, isn't it?
Definitely, Scott. I mean, we just, if nothing else, COVID's made us look at life in general. So it's got to have longevity, it's got to have something meaning to it to carry on, which is what the boat's got to do. I could have done the row and left it at that and gone back to academy business, but actually the finish was just the start of the journey. Actually getting to Port St Charles, yes, the finish of the Atlantic, so I finished on the sea, and I've definitely finished on the sea. Now the journey's on land, and talking now is what we're going to do, and we're going to keep talking, and we're going to keep making a difference, because if we keep doing that, we will make a difference, I'm sure of that.
And how can people get involved now to help? Well, one, to help still support your fundraising, and two, if they want to find out more about mental health and the charities.
So a couple of things with that. One is, if we can get along to the Adam Stansfield game at Ewich Park, that would be great support of bowel cancer and bowel cancer awareness, which is great with a lot of our former players and indeed our first team manager playing, which will be great. And secondly, it would be to have a look at our Cockleshell Endeavour 2021, which I'm sure Scott will put up there when he does his media bit for you. Have a look at that, because it'll show you our arrival, our journey, some bits of photos of what we accomplished and everything like, and it's still got our GoFund page, and every penny will make a difference to the worthy causes that we got: Firefighters Charity, the Royal Marines Charity, Veterans Against Suicide, and the Not Forgotten Association, which are very caring organisations that are looking after serving and former and indeed anybody, and they can put anybody, family or friend, in touch with the relevant people that can help. There is always someone that can help.
A lot of food for thought, I think, there.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Brilliant,
you.
Scott.
Congratulations on your incredible achievement, and thanks for all the work you're doing.
Lovely. Thank you, Scott.